All things are spiritual and all things are political.
The American empire is over.
Do you know what's supposed to happen right before the reversal of this curse?
And then when the public realizes it, is it just too late?
We feel like this is something that all of us should get to decide together.
For an employer, this is nirvana.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up out of your sleep, sleep.
Guys, UNEHIYA is making progress on the campaign, but along the way, they've just gotten confirmation that we actually can't just identify by the term American Indian. So now, UNEHIYA wants you to vote on what we should be called. They're dealing with what's called statutory classifications. But if you don't know what UNEHIYA is, you're probably lost right now. UNEHIYA is a small advocacy group lobbying Congress to get Black Americans recognized as the pre-Columbian aborigines of this land. They're building on ironclad argument using the insights of people like you who research this sort of thing all the time and watch videos like mine, but they have to go through a meticulous process to get that done. UNEHIYA's chief executive is UNEHIYA, and while her team's small, they've got a dope strategy. The plan is to revive a bill that died in committee around the time Trump got elected the second go around, but then they want to amend that bill with a requirement to expand its scope regarding indigenous identities to include us. They even have legal precedent for their argument, using the Moorish Indian Code of Law passed by the state of Georgia in recognition of the fact that Georgia Indians were Black people. But what this means is, now it all comes down to the process and the evidence. And after a consultation with a Black-owned government consulting contractor, they now know certain parts of the process need to get tweaked. And a big change that has to be made pertains to what we want the federal government, not to mention the world, to call us. So UNEHIYA has a soundbite from an UNEHIYA meeting specifically excerpted to rope everybody into this part of the conversation. That's up on the UNEHIYA page right now. It's split into 2 videos with the slides from the presentation and everything. You can hear her explanation of how we got to the point where we're even having this conversation, and then you can vote on a separate post right beneath those videos. But you don't just have to pick from the terms enumerated in the polling post. You can actually write in your own idea if you have a better option in mind. Other people might agree with you. Bottom line though, we feel like this is something that all of us should get to decide together. It's not a decision we should make in a back room somewhere. So make your vote count. Guys, what we're about to talk about is a game changer. In short, UNEHIYA is a small team of highly capable individuals trying to lobby Congress for federal recognition of Black Americans as pre-Columbian American Indians. I'm one of them. I'm the public information officer, so I'm out front recruiting and providing information. I'm also handling PR because of my background in print journalism. I want to appeal to everyone watching this video to support the campaign by joining UNEHIYA. And guess what? You don't even have to know a single thing about politics or history. Just help us build our list of demands and help each other use UNEHIYA's genealogy tools to identify your ancestral tribes. Vote yes or no on the hundreds of decisions we have to make. Participate in our tribal town hall meetings after every new moon. If you got any spare change, use it to become a stakeholder in UNEHIYA, which can be done for as little as $7. You can opt into stakeholder leadership for about $20 if you've got the budget for it. Believe it or not, it only takes 5 minutes to help us reclassify ourselves as Indians. Let's go! I need you to see the yin and the yang of what I'm about to say. All things are spiritual and all things are political. Believe it or not, spirit and politics are 2 sides of the same coin, which is why the lawgiver among our ancient ancestral societies was always a shaman. The chiefs were leaders in their respective areas, but the shaman is the knower of the law of the society. That's what Mulwe means in the Muskogee language. Our traditions and rituals were spiritual first, but used for political reasons. A new war chief, for example, had to have a coronation ceremony to receive his war bonnet, but that was the shaman anointing him with feathers from the birds native to their land, dwelling in the trees that the knowers sat around. That's spirituality creating politics. This is all to demonstrate that in the ancestral way, the spiritual and the political were yin and yang. The spiritual obstacle to us being recognized as American Indians is the curse of displacement, levied against us by nature herself. Nature cursed our ancient ancestors for not living up to the responsibility as the royal priesthood of mankind. We are the intercessors between Earth's inhabitants and existence. We are the governors of humanity, the proper terminology for which is principal people. Cherokee, or originally Salagi, means principal people. Muskogee also means principal people. Other names, like for the Navajo and Apache, actually go as far as to imply that they're the only people, Diné and Nandi, respectively. That's 4 examples right there. 1 is an incident, 2 is a coincidence, 3 is a pattern, the Ichiti principle of discernment. The translation of Anishinaabe is the good humans. The transliteration is the people from whence lowered, which means humans from whom all other humans descend. They don't necessarily mean that they consider themselves to be the biological ancestors of all ethnic groups. What they mean is, we're the humans who supervise other humans. Moses, was born into one of our shamanic bloodlines, and he gave us nature's law. We broke the law and incurred many curses, including the following. Deuteronomy 28, verse 21. Yahweh shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. Everyone interprets this as plagues killing us off in the promised land, as in Canaan. That's where we were until the end of the age of 12 dragons. That's a fair assessment, but there's more to it than that. Many of the curses in this passage are recurring curses. You'll notice that this verse doesn't specifically refer to the promised land. Rather, it's just talking about the land we go to possess as a people. Yet there were many lands we've gone on to possess since then. So yeah, this happened when we were still in the promised land, and we were removed by enemies after we'd been weakened by plagues. However, we went to possess other lands in our diaspora, and everywhere we go, this keeps happening. That's why Ezekiel 5:10 said the Great Spirit would scatter the surviving Yaśarelim on the 4 winds of the earth. The tribal lands we claimed since then are the same. The colonizer was a vector for plagues that significantly weakened us, and subsequently, we've been consumed from off the land. Consumed by the colonizer, who literally absorbed us into themselves via intermarriage and scattered us through slavery and removal. The same happened at the beginning of the Age of the Griffin, chiefly the Babylonian captivity 26 centuries ago. But every curse also leads to a reversal of that curse. Do you know what's supposed to happen right before the reversal of this curse? Isaiah 52, verses 13 to 15. Behold, my servant shall deal prudently. My servant shall deal prudently. My servant shall negotiate wisely. He shall be exalted and extolled, and be very high. As many were astonied at thee, as many were astonished by you. His visage was so marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men. So shall he sprinkle many nations. The kings shall shut their mouths at him. For that which had not been told them shall they see, and that which they had not heard shall they consider. So Yahweh says her servant, which is the nation of Yaśarel, will be wise in his dealings. That's politics. And we know that because us dealing wisely makes specifically world leaders shut up. He'll be praised for it. as many were astonished by you, because my servant's reputation was ruined more so than anyone else's ever has been, and in that ruined reputation he scattered across all lands. World leaders will stop making fun of him because they'll see what they didn't see in him before, and hear what they hadn't heard from him before. That's the truth coming to light, because we dealt wisely in their political system to show world leaders what they have done to the people who were anointed by natural selection. That's us. This is what's next for our people today in the age of iron teeth. We will approach the U.S. government and deal prudently. We'll prove who we are, and it will shock the world. Public opinion of the Negro will shift once they realize we're the Indians. But that's also going to prove that the institution of slavery inadvertently reunited Judah and Ephraim. All the tribes of Yaśarel are represented right here in the U.S., and this political achievement is part of the transition to the age of shared existence. I'm going to break all this down further in upcoming presentations, but for now, suffice it to say, politics is more spiritual than you realize. Go to the UNEHIYA page to vote for our new statutory classification. Support the truth.
Richard Wolff, thanks so much for joining me on Upfront.
As an economist, I can tell you, never did we need a tax cut for corporations and the rich less than 2017 when they got it. Now they want to keep it because it had a sunset provision. Now they want to keep it in this year. If he's going to do that, the only way he can deliver to them, or to use his language, I'm going to make you all rich. Exactly. The only way he can do that now is to savage the public sector. Where else is he going to get the money?
And then when the public realizes it, is it just too late? How do they reconcile that?
Mr. Trump won't be with us when they figure that out.
Fair enough.
For an employer, this is nirvana, because he's not going to have to tax them. Look, he has to deliver that to them. How's he going to do it? He could borrow the money. That's what his predecessors did. But we are now at a level of debt this country has never seen. It's becoming a scary problem, because if the rest of the world no longer lends to the United States government to cover its deficits, what are we going to do?
Yeah, we're cutting taxes for the richest among us. Yes, we're giving more and more benefits to corporations, but that will create jobs. That will allow us to take risks. That will allow us to spark innovation. That will allow us to create the next big market that will allow for, more wealth for everybody. If we build a new internet, if we build a new auto industry, if we build a new thing, everybody gets a job, everybody wins, more money's on the table.
What you're saying is a nice way, better way than they usually do, for what used to be called trickle-down economics. There was a grain of truth to that, but it isn't anymore. The American empire is over. We're done. We peaked about 12, 15 years ago, and we are on a down. And it's very hard for the American people, which I understand. I am one. It's hard to get your head around that. We've had a century of on the way up, which is a lot more fun than on the way down. But it does happen to every empire. We're only the latest. Look at the British, how far they've fallen. We're in that process. So the problem with the trickle down is, there might be more jobs, but they're going to be created in China. They're going to be created in Brazil. They're going to be created in India. They're not created here. What you're seeing is desperation politics. In recent days, we have seen the decision of the Trump administration to kiss the war in Ukraine goodbye. We're not doing that no more because we can't afford it. All of these things are signs of what? Of a country that is in trouble and is turning on its friends because it can to save itself. We're going to take over, we're going to get your energy for nothing. We're going to, make you build the wall, you in Mexico. Look what...